It was an unusually tongue-tied performance for someone who has been a bombastic critic of climate and environmental science. The former Texas environmental state regulator turned climate pundit has argued that carbon dioxide has none of the attributes of a pollutant, dismissed it as a harmless trace gas and plant food, and compared Pope Francis' public advocacy for action to curb global warming to the Catholic Church's arrest of Galileo for heresy in 1633. She equated the belief in the overwhelming evidence that man-made greenhouse gas emissions are warming the planet to paganism, and accused United Nations leaders calling for climate action of advocating totalitarian communism. Hartnett-White deflected those quotes as taken out of context when raised repeatedly by Democratic senators on Wednesday. But Hartnett-White, who Senator Ed Markey, D-Mass, described as a fringe voice that rejects science, economics, and reality, withered under intense questioning from Democratic senators. She struggled on 5 separate occasions to defend her rejection of mainstream climate science. She fumbled when Senator Ben Cardin, DMD, asked if she believes climate change is real. "I am uncertain," she said, then corrected herself, "No, I'm not." I jumped ahead. "Climate change is of course real." Then she said she's uncertain about the extent to which humans are to blame. Senator Jeff Merkley, D.O., asked pointedly whether Hartnett-White considers the mass deaths of coral reefs, in events called bleaching, to be an environmental problem. She dithered, noting that it would be if that were true. "I have no knowledge of those issues," she said. "I know it is an issue, but I have no specific knowledge." After he sparred with her over when she considers scientists worth listening to, she admitted she was aware of the shrinking ice sheet in the Arctic but the expanding ice sheet in the Antarctic. That's a frequent fact highlighted by climate change deniers as evidence that global warming is not as severe as scientists say it is. But the argument is problematic. Sea ice off Antarctica has grown somewhat over the past decade. In September 2014, it hit a record 1 million square miles, the largest extent since satellites began keeping measurements in 1979, according to Inside Climate News. The outlet cited a study that found that the ocean current that determines how much sea ice grows is steered by submerged ridges and canyons along the edge of Antarctica's continental shelf, rather than by rising temperatures or other climatic conditions. When Merkley received another turn for questioning later in the hearing, he exhibited a poster-sized chart using data from the Federal Climate Report released last week by the Trump administration. The report found that human-caused greenhouse gas emissions had pushed the world into its warmest period in the history of modern civilization, with global average air temperatures having increased by 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit over the last 115 years. The senator's chart showed 3 bars, one for human emissions and the other 2 for volcanic activities and solar flares, which climate change deniers frequently raise as alternative theories for the cause of rising temperatures. Asked if she accepts the findings of the report, given that it was issued by the Trump administration, she said it was actually the product of the Obama administration. "I view this report really as the product of the past administration and not of this president," she said. "There are all different types, there are many different types of scientists," she added. "There's a credible difference of opinion among climate scientists. 97% of peer-reviewed climate research concludes that greenhouse gases from burning fossil fuels, industrial farming and deforestation are the main causes of global warming." A research review released last November found significant flaws in the methodologies, assumptions, or analyses used by the 3% of scientists whose studies found otherwise.